me, Keisha Heiner from New Beginning Healing Institute. It's Monday and it's Boca Monday and I'm Boca ready. Yay, yay, yay. Again, it's what? 12:35. You can always probably tell my lunchtime, right? Because this is when I do my videos anyway. Happy Monday to you. You probably saw my power tip today that says, I need God in my super ego. I really do. Now, I don't know what you will need for your super ego, but before you decide what you will do about that, let me explain to you what the super ego is, okay? So we all talk about the ego. Yes, we need the ego. The ego helps us to, execute, make decisions, plan, organize. We need that. But in order for the ego to have that kind of quality, the super ego is always trying to talk to us. So the quality of the super ego is really important, okay? So we don't have proper quality in there. And let me tell you, that super ego is part of what makes up our personality, all right? So when I say I need God in my super ego to override the lies, it's true. Well, how's the super ego formed? Well, really quick. The super ego is that part of our personality, right? That tells us about moral and ethical imperatives, those things that we should and should not do. The only thing about that is if it becomes too much, if that part of our brain, if that part of our personality is too loud to the point where it really affects what the ego does or is able to do. The ego strengths. One of the ego strengths is being able to have very high tolerance, right, for things, and be able to kind of manage our frustrations. And that's just one of the features of the ego. So not to bore you too much, but if the ego is going to have good quality and have strength to do things on a day-to-day basis, that super ego, this I always call the left person, needs to be in check. It needs to have some kind of balance. And again, the super ego is a part of us that is developed way early. So really quickly again, where'd that come from? It's a part of our personality that's actually shaped since we were like 6 months in utero. Other persons are like our social scientists, and scientists like to call that part of our brain the limbic system, because the limbic system has a lot to do with our unconscious functions such as breathing and other unconscious functions that we don't really tend to think about. So this one of the parts of the super ego then is our thoughts, okay? That silent voice, that inner person that talks to us. And that inner person that talks to us more times than not, we get those inner dialogues from the environments that we grew up in, the persons that have been primary caregivers, like teachers, like mom and dad, uncle so-and-so, auntie so-and-so. And these transactions that we take in consciously and then they become part of our unconscious, the super ego. So if I were to summarize the super ego, it has a lot of what we call moral and ethical imperatives, these things about what you should not do. Now, the thing about that, it can be healthy, but it becomes unhealthy when it becomes oppressive and it overrides basically the ego and those functions, or one of those primary functions I was talking about earlier, allow you to live a functional life, a happy life, a balanced life. The super ego can be really, really loud. So if you don't have proper moral imperatives in there, if you don't have proper cultural imperatives in there, the ones that really work for you, that it can be really too loud. And a lot of times, some of those imperatives it can be untruthful. They can be very misconstrued. They can be just outright inaccurate, essentially. So when you have these inaccuracies going on, it's going to affect your ability to function, the higher you, your prefrontal cortex, on a day-to-day basis. So this is your power tip for lunchtime. There's a lot taken on your lunch break, but you can think about it throughout the rest of the week. I hope you will. And so yeah, I need God in my super ego. So to close then, what will you need to override these inaccuracies, these inaccurate moral and ethical imperatives, or the things that you've learned growing up? You know what? It's our responsibilities now to make those corrections. There you go, guys. See you next time. Have a great afternoon. Bye.